Hey, let's do this.
All right, I think we're live. We're being broadcast on YouTube and all over the world. No, it's exciting today. We've got a special guest, Erik Korondy, who has just joined eXp Realty, and I thought it'd be fun to talk with Erik a little bit about his background. For those of you who don't know, eXp Realty is one of the fastest growing, if not the fastest growing real estate brokerage across the country. We're in all 50 states, 25,000 agents, and going global. And we primarily went out of the gates as a residential, although we do have a commercial a core group that's growing and swelling every day. And we recently caught the attention of what I think is a very seasoned veteran commercial agent, Erik Korondy. Erik, how you doing?
Hi, good. Thanks, David. Thanks for having me and setting this up.
Yeah, no problem. Well, normally I have a really tight agenda here, but I thought that this would kind of be free flowing in the sense of, how did you get into commercial real estate?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, my background was in IT. I spent over 20 years, founded 2 companies, and it was thriving in Silicon Valley in the late 90s. It was an exciting time, but I realized that the industry really wasn't a good fit for me and my personality, and I didn't really have that passion for it. So it wasn't until early 2006, 2007, that I really became interested in investing in real estate, something that's tangible. You really can see the fruits of your labor as opposed to, seeing something just on paper and equity or balance sheet, things like that. So I started out investing. The first property was in Colorado, then California. Most of the deals that I did were in Florida. That's a market that I really love. And I started out focused on residential. So basically flipping homes, anything that I couldn't sell right away, I would hold on to as a rental property. So I got really good at property management, and I did a lot of the work myself as much as I could. Any of the construction work, I oversaw the project. I was the project manager. In many cases, I didn't have a general contractor. That was my role. I studied construction laws and building codes and everything so that I knew exactly what I was doing and managed the subcontractors throughout the project. It was, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that, I mean, you learned it from soup to nuts.
That's right.
And what was it that drew you to commercial real estate as opposed to residential? I'm just curious.
Yeah, so over the years, I had flipped a lot of homes, made some good money. Fortunately, I've never lost money on a deal, but it was a lot of work. It was like having a job, and I didn't see the scalability there. So through my large network of investment groups, I found that commercial real estate, specifically multifamily, was a really great asset class. Just to give you an example, during the last recession, the default rate of residential properties was 4%. In multifamily, it was 0.4%. So really unaffected in the asset class that I was looking at, specifically the C and B class properties. And so that's really what I went and focused on. And so I spent a lot of time educating myself, networking, finding a really good mentor, and studying markets. And that's really what I did, and starting with the area that I know best, which is North Florida.
Right. Now, yeah, you don't just focus in on one particular area. You were kind of, you have projects in the past throughout the country.
That's right. So we focus on the Southeast and Midwest regions, but I have investors all over the country. And if I find a deal that makes sense, the numbers work, I know who to call in that area to help raise the capital for the down payment. We do focus more on larger projects. So these are typically 200 plus units, something that is large enough where we can have an on-site staff, sales, leasing, property management, maintenance, all of that is on staff. And it takes a lot of the workload off of me, because essentially I'm just managing the manager and making sure that they're executing on the business plan that we put together.
Now, how quickly did you get to that level of commercial knowledge or, workings? Because I'm coming at it from the perspective of a residential agent, and I know sometimes, we might dabble in a little bit of leasing or might help somebody buy a condo property, but then there's that gray area, and then obviously the
Right.
higher level commercial stuff. How long did it take you to get to where you are now?
It was about at least 2 years, 2 to 3 years of intense work, study, and networking. And I know agents that do dabble in commercial, but it's more like, the 6 unit, 12 unit apartment complex that sells for $500,000, $600,000. And that, I think, is similar to residential in the types of buyers that you're working with and the financing, the down payment, the whole structure of it is somewhat similar to residential. But for me, the types of deals I'm doing is completely different. It's like a different career altogether. Your buyers and your sellers are both sophisticated investors. They've done
Right.
this before. And when they're looking for somebody to represent them, they want somebody that really knows the business. And that's why I think it does take that time. And it's not, you can stumble upon, hey, I want to sell my 50,000 square foot warehouse in Houston, for somebody, a residential agent, to take that on. It's very difficult challenge, and it takes years of work to get there.
And we're talking totally different contracts, listing
That's
agreements,
right.
addendums. It's a
And
whole
even the
different
way you
process.
sell the property too is completely different. There's no standard multiple listing service like you would have with residential. There's a few large players that where you can list properties, but essentially it's primarily through networking that you're getting these buyers and sellers together. A
Yeah,
lot of deals happen off market.
which brings me to you have one of your components of marketing, I guess, is also your networking abilities. And I know that you have commercial network groups, again, not only locally but nationally. Maybe you can touch upon that and the reason why you have those.
Yeah, so just to take a step back to when I was in the residential space, I researched markets around the country. I was still living in the San Francisco Bay Area and decided on Jacksonville, Florida as the place that I'm going to really start investing. And I went out there, spent weeks driving every street in the largest city in America, and found that there really wasn't a good networking group. There was one main one that costed quite a bit of money. And it was very pitchy. It didn't give me what I was looking for. So I decided to start a group of my own. The very first session we had, there was only 6 people that showed up, but I got my first deal. And so that was great. And that group's grown to over 4,000 members today. And so I decided to use that same concept with commercial. And I started a group, one in Jacksonville and one here in the DC metro area. Again, really with the purpose of a casual meeting, getting to know people and seeing if we can work together, help each other out, share ideas, strategize, partner on deals. And that's how that came along. And then through my other networking activities, my mentorship with one of the leading apartment investors, I found those that are the best at what they do around the country. I have one in Denver, one in Indianapolis, one in Dallas, Fort Worth, and each of these hold their own networking events every year. So I'm attending all of those. You get to meet everybody there, as well as potential partners, lenders, property managers, attorneys, you name it. And so the Rolodex just keeps growing.
That's great. Now, is there a particular branding that you have for these networking events, or is it just by location?
It's really by location and by asset class. So the one that I have here in DC is called Multifamily Mixer. Again, it speaks to the casual concept. Having, drinking beer and talking with friends is really what it feels like. But also you're talking about what each other is working on. What are you looking for? What do you have to offer to the group? But then, I've also just recently started branching into industrial properties, warehouses, industrial condos, things like that.
Wow, in the residential space, there's a lot of that networking. There's broker opens, there's association meetings, but I could certainly see the need for that in the commercial space. If somebody was interested in maybe participating in one of your networking events, whether down in Florida or in the capital region, how would they get in touch, or how would they find out about you?
Well, they can check it out on meetup.com. Just search for multifamily mixer, and you'll find our events there, or they can send me an email, erik.korondy@exprealty.com, and I can let them know where there is an event close to them if they're outside of the DC or Jacksonville area.
Right. I imagine that you get a lot of people coming that may not necessarily have the expertise. You said you had different levels of commercial. What are those levels? I mean, because I know that, again, there are some residential agents say, I do commercial. And from the commercial perspective, you look down and go, well, yeah, kinda. What are those clear tiers, or are there?
Yeah, there's definitely those tiers. There's people that are completely new to the industry, and from there they would get some guidance on what you need to do. We'll give them some resources, some books, some websites, and some other resources they can use to educate themselves. If they have some experience, maybe they're in the residential side. Again, it's really pointing them in the right direction and what they need to learn. The group's not really meant to be a training session, because there are some that are experienced investors and agents that it would kind of turn off. So, but it's an open group. Anybody can come and join and network. But I found through the years is that I'll give some people the information exactly what I did to get here, and they won't execute on it. A lot, it depends on each person. Some people are really driven and will do whatever it takes to succeed. Others, you can spoon feed them and they still won't do much with it. So it depends on each person's personality.
Well, I'm going to pivot a little bit here. So, we've talked a little bit about your past and currently some of the things that you're doing. But I think a lot of people are watching this today, asking the question, why would somebody who's an established commercial agent, who's obviously got a lot going on, a lot of networking events, consider and then join eXp Realty?
That's
so
a good
put
question.
You on the spot here.
Yeah, and I've asked myself the same question. So I got to a point where I was evaluating deals without being licensed, and if it didn't fit my criteria and that of my investors, I would just move on. And I was potentially throwing away millions of dollars in commissions. And so that's when I decided, and other friends of mine have said for a long time, you really should get your license. It'll help you out along the way. So I decided to do that. I'm currently licensed in Virginia. I will be licensed in Florida in the coming weeks. And when I was looking for a firm, I met with the large commercial firms, and it just didn't feel right. It was, you're sitting in an office all day, lined, rows of desks, everybody's on the phone. And I mean, I haven't worked in an office in 10, 15 years. So that to me just didn't feel right. And I was looking for a company that offered a platform that would allow me to work where I want, when I want, how I want, and gave me the tools that I needed to be successful. eXp is the only company out there that I saw had anything even remotely close to what I'm looking for. And I mean, I was blown away when you introduced me to the concept and showed me everything that's available to new agents. It's unbelievable. And you mentioned the commercial division is still in the early phases. I think anybody coming on board right now really has an opportunity to help shape and mold this division into where it goes. And I've seen it already through some of the online collaboration through Facebook Workplace. You can ask questions and interact with people around the country and soon around the world on different ideas and strategies, how you would approach things. That's something I don't think you would get in a traditional model commercial brokerage.
Yeah, I was even surprised. I mean, obviously, this is a new world for me because I don't do a lot of commercial, but, introducing you to some of the players within eXp that do commercial, I was really surprised at the quality and the professionalism of some of the commercial agents that we have. I mean, we have some commercial trainers, CCIM is certified, And I think in some of the workplace groups, we have over 1,000 commercial agents. Now, we might have some of those folks that are just dabbling, but there were some legitimate commercial folks there.
Oh yeah, and I've talked to several of them. They really know their stuff, and they've been doing it for a very long time. They're great resources, and relatively before the commercial side has been built up, they've been untapped, and it's amazing the amount of information that's here. And some of these are even business brokers too.
Right. I've been with the company 9 years. I started out as the Virginia State broker and launched it, and so I've seen very quickly how this company has grown from 250 agents to 25,000 in the residential space. I can only guess, and I don't have any knowledge of it, but I can only guess that same type of growth and development is going to occur in our commercial space once it's officially launched. But it's almost all these people coming together saying it's going to happen.
Yeah, I think so, because generally the average commercial agent is much more experienced and doesn't need to be somebody to hold their hand like you would in a small residential brokerage office. You go there to get help and to work deals together. The commercial agent doesn't need that. They just want to sit down, get to work, and close deals. And really, it's all about the platform and educating people what eXp has to offer. And I think there'll be floods of people coming in.
Yeah, one thing that I also thought was probably, I don't want to speak for you, but another selling point for you is that you've got projects around the country, and you said that you may not be taking them all on. You probably want to develop a network of trusted, reliable commercial contacts to say, you know what, I'm not going to work this deal, but I have somebody in Florida, or I have somebody in Texas, or I have somebody, which, with our cloud collaboration, you get to meet those people very easily.
Yeah, that's probably the most valuable component, I think, is the collaboration and the portal that's available. Right now, today, I've got a company in Michigan that I'm acquiring with some partners, and there's a large real estate component to that. And I'll be reaching out to commercial brokers in Michigan to see if they can help facilitate that. I've got another project in Florida that I'm working on. So I'm getting leads, several a week, that I can be sharing with other brokers around the country.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
And, to have a legitimate bona fide commercial agent coming on board, see the excitement of this business model and the collaboration. If somebody was watching this and they're in that commercial space and they were kind of scratching their head saying, I don't know, I might, is somebody going to want to work with me if I'm not with one of the larger commercial brand names? And you might say,
I haven't seen that. It's really not about the brand name, because anybody can go work with some of these larger brokerage houses. And it's really all about you as a person and what you can bring to the deal. I don't think it's really the brand behind you that you're selling. You're selling yourself.
Yeah, there's an article that NAR put out a while back talking about less than 5% of consumers really care about what brokerage you're actually with. They're working with you.
That's right. And commercial's no different.
Yeah. Because I mean, even in my own area, I see a lot of commercial names that I've never heard of. They're not household brand names,
Right.
Yet they're still doing a lot of commercial activity.
Yeah.
So what is exciting you about, I know that you've only been on board here for, I don't know how many months, a short while.
Yeah.
What is exciting you about that now and the potential growth and being on, like you said, that ground level here at eXp with the commercial division?
I'm excited to see how the commercial division builds. I think there's a huge amount of potential there. And then working deals with other agents around the country. I'm interested in helping others to become successful. And I know we're looking at different platforms that are typically used in larger brokerage houses and bringing them in here so that the agents will have access to all the tools they do in the larger firms who, take a lot of their compensation as a result of that. So, the financial model of this, I think, is also a huge benefit. And for me, it's a no-brainer. Once you sit down and see what eXp has to offer and compare it to, the other firms, there's no way you would want to consider anything else.
Well, the business model is the same. It's you're still earning stock equity,
Yeah.
by selling and capping, and then you also have the advantage and component of building your team, bringing people on, and having the opportunity to earn residual income all across
Right.
the nation,
Yeah.
which I haven't heard of any other commercial brokerages offering that.
No, definitely not. And in fact, they'll charge you more in technology fees. They'll take a larger cut of your commission, all of that, and for less information that you're going to get.
So if you were licensed in different states and you were with an existing commercial brokerage, they would charge you for each of those locations?
That's right.
Yeah. Wow. So that's
If they even allowed it. I met with one of the largest ones here in the DC area, and they wanted me to be in the office every day from 7 a.m. till 6 p.m. And I couldn't work in another state. You had to be in that office, and that was it. And that's how a lot of these larger firms work. It's crazy.
well, I had a little dabble in commercial. When I got done playing football, my very first job was with Coldwell Banker Commercial Real Estate,
Mhm.
and I was a metro marketing research analyst. So when you talk about being inside and making phone calls, that was all I did all
Wow.
day, many moons ago. So yeah, listen, how would somebody who is watching this, certainly either one, if they're with eXp or they're not with eXp and they wanted to talk to Erik Korondy? I mean, your email or your website or Facebook, maybe we can give them, and we can certainly post it on, the places that we're posting. But how would they get in touch with you, Erik?
Yeah, email is usually the best way, erik.korondy@exprealty.com. And since I am new, I don't have a commercial site up yet, but exprealty.com will give them a lot of the information. And I'd be happy to send them to a landing page that would also provide more detail. And we can put that in the notes as well.
Well, I'm excited to have you on board. I mean, I don't see me doing a lot of commercial in the future, but I like learning and at least looking over somebody's shoulders who's doing it and doing it well. What are some of the things that you're planning for 2020? Some of your goals here, not only with doing your networking events, but also maybe with helping out eXp.
Yeah, I'm interested in helping out any way I can to grow the commercial division. That's one of my main goals. I'm also a business broker, and with business transaction, there's often a real estate component, whether it's a sale of a property or a lease assignment. So that I think is going to bring a lot of extra transactions here. And then I'm reaching out to property owners that I've worked with in the past. Investors are contacting me daily, looking for deals across the country. So I think that's really what I'm focused on right now.
Yeah, I look at this. I know that the early days when I was here, there was real input from the brokers and agents on helping kind of set some of the ground foundation of the company and helping them implement some of the systems. I can only imagine with the talent that we have that there's enough there to, although we haven't officially launched commercial, we don't have somebody officially overseeing that division, there's enough there to start, maybe putting some of the fundamentals on what you would like to see down on paper for wish lists.
That's right. And I think we've started to see it through the collaboration portal, that there's a lot of people looking for, more of a structure in place. And I think we're going to get there soon.
That's awesome. Well, is there anything else that you want to share, with anybody that's watching this, or I don't know, words of wisdom for 2020?
Yeah, I think if you're looking for a change and to grow your business and work efficiently, then you really have to check out the best cloud brokerage firm on the planet. And I mean, I was blown away, and I'm sure anybody else that's thinking about whether their current firm has the tools to help them to be successful, I think they'll it'll be an eye opener to see what eXp has to offer.
Yeah, I'm excited, and it's fun to watch the company grow, but it's also fun to see the different divisions and the spin-offs and the affiliates that we have. And certainly watching commercial, I sat in one of your meetings. There's a wealth of talent and expertise there that it's just going to be fun to watch this thing blossom. If you want to reach out to Erik, you can certainly contact me. I can give you his information. He's got his email, erik.korondy@exprealty.com. And his website is, you have your agent attraction website, which is something biz.
Let me pull that up.
It's erikkorondy.exprealty.careers, but he's got a fun URL that I putting you on the spot here. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I'm looking for it. I just set it up.
Yeah. I'll give you a softball question here while we're waiting. You have any fun activities or anything?
Yeah, just about anything outdoors. I mean,
Yeah.
Hiking, running, sailing, travel.
Nice. Here's a side one. What was your impression when you went into the cloud office?
I was blown away by all the information there. And I mean, the eXp world is also unbelievable. I've never seen anything like it. I mean, being able to, it's like you're in a video game, going in and you can go attend different meetings and go into the auditorium and training centers. And I even went in to the help section and asked somebody a question on how to do something. And I got an answer immediately. I mean, it was just unbelievable.
It is pretty, the first couple of times that you go in there, you kind of scratch your head and go, well, this is kind of strange. And then the light bulb kind of, pops and go, I get it. I get it now. I have the ability to, collaborate with people all over the country. I have the ability to, when it's raining outside, I can jump in, I don't have to jump in my car and shovel the driveway off. I can now do work more efficiently, whether it's residential or commercial.
Yeah.
Expandyourbiz.com.
Yeah, expandyourcrebiz.com.
Expandyourcrebiz.com.
That's it.
You got it. And the other one, your meetup is Multifamily Mixer. That's in the Washington, D.C. area. What is your next one, Erik?
It's the second Tuesday of every month. So it'll be the second Tuesday of February.
Okay. And that's usually is that for those in the Washington metro area, Washington, D.C. metro area, is that in the Tyson's Corner?
It's usually in Tyson's Corner. We occasionally will have one in DC, but the next one's in Tyson's Corner.
Okay. Well, great. Well, I mean, I wanted to, first of all, officially welcome you to eXp. I'm excited for your journey in commercial space. I'm here to help you and support you any way I can, and maybe I'll learn a few things about commercial, but glad to have you on board, my friend.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, David. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, yeah. So will you be having any type of maybe webinars in the future about commercial, or talking, maybe Q&A? That might be something to have for agents that are looking to come on board, or having eXp folks, come to collaborate with you.
Definitely. Yeah, I'm open to that, and having these additional sessions. I have had some people ask that we make our monthly networking groups online, so that people from all around the world can attend if they're not here locally in the DC area. So that's something we're looking at as well.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, hey, thanks for joining us and sharing your story. And really excited for you in 2020 with eXp.
Right. Thanks, David. I'm sure you'll get to see this grow. And I mean, having been with the company for 9 years, that's got to be amazing to see how, eXp is propelling into the future even more so than it was before. This is a great time.
Well, you hit it on the head, is that you're in the eye of the storm, and you look around and you go from in 9 years, go from a couple hundred agents to 25,000. And so, we're just, there was an article that came out in Inman just yesterday that Glenn said, we're just getting started too.
Yeah.
But that same type of intensity and focus and growth is going to happen in commercial once that's officially, out of the gates.
That's
And
right.
that's going to be, super exciting for those people that get in on the ground level.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, hey, have a great day. We're going to sign off here. If you have any questions, reach out to Erik, Korondy, and that's Erik with a K, Korondy with a K, at exprealty.com. Erik, thanks for your time, man.
All right. Thanks, David.
All right, bud.